Thunder fans, Travis Lennox here, joined by Matt Saffold here in Frederick after the final game of the season, and manager Shawn Chacon. Tough 7-6 loss here, tough couple games here in Frederick at the end of the season. But Shawn, this game, 7-6, 6-run fourth inning, you guys fell behind. You kept battling. John Schroeder nailed left the ballpark for grand slam. Unfortunately, got run down, but start on thoughts about the game and his ball there and the fight of the team.
Yeah, it was tough, man. Anyway, not the way we wanted to end up, but thanks for having me again. It's always dope to talk to you guys. But yeah, we did, obviously losing 3 here was not the plan. But we were competitive, it's one of those things, Both teams, I think, were worn out. Excuse me.
Good.
Thank you. But, it's just one of those things. We were hot for so long coming into this thing that, baseball, things turn. But, I'm proud of them either way. We dropped the first 2 games, came in tonight. I think everybody feeling a little there's a little apprehension, a little tension in the air just because, it's the last game. Had some fun, tried to lighten it up a little bit, took some, pitchers BP and stuff like that. And then the game, and honestly, they played hard, did what they could. And it's just, it's baseball. We were on the short end of the stick, but I'm proud of the way they finished. That 9th inning, getting base runners on. Jared Beebe had a big night, him hitting above 300 and having that, 2-run homer, which could have been 3-run homer. But again, it's only fitting that the umpire somewhere, puts an imprint on there. But again, no blame there. It is what it is. We had a chance to win. Johnny Schroeder, the man that I would choose to be at the plate in that situation every time. For that reason. And, it was a matter of a couple miles per hour gusts of wind maybe.
Sure.
That really, truly, in this ballpark with the ball flies, so just wasn't meant to be. But overall, proud and couldn't be prouder of all of them, 100%.
What's your overall feeling of the season? Wins and losses are one thing, but now having gone through a complete season, I think I mentioned about a week ago, over 80 players, and just the way that this season, in terms of having success and still, having to fight and battle and claw for every out, every run. Just speak about what this means to you to kind of just finish it off this season the way that what you guys did.
I'll probably process more about the whole season, these next few days to really give a fair assessment of at least myself anyway, in my experience. But overall, man, I had a blast. It was busy. It was ups and downs. There's good and bad, but I think the overall takeaway from it is we affected these young players in a positive way, man. And I think just getting the gratitude of thanks for the opportunity from guys that you can tell genuinely appreciate it. That's good enough for me. Seeing some of these guys evolve, the way they started their seasons and the way they finished is a big thing too. I mean, you could go down the list, guys that started off a little sketchy and then, look at their stats now and, they put together something to be proud of. Tyler Collins, Vega, Bill Sullivan, they're pretty much all of them, I think for some of them, reality's going to hit on this drive home, which is sad for some, these guys that it's over. And then for others, they have something to build off of and look forward to in the off season, because I think a lot of them have a lot of baseball left. I'm proud of our pitchers. Naturally being a pitching guy, I'm proud of the way they battled ups and downs all season long, especially the second half guys. Guys like J.J. Almeida, Parks, Carbone, who had, a strong couple outs other than tonight. I'll go down the list, Luis Misla, Drakeford and his stuff. Just being able to come out and compete with what you had on a daily basis. There's a lot of guys that were, up for the challenge, so to speak. So I'm probably missing some names out there, but again, I told these guys before, I appreciated their hard work. I appreciated collectively how they went about their business. Individually, there's a couple duds in there, but the core of the group, the majority of the group didn't let that take away from what they knew was right, what they had to do. So overall, man, I'm glad to get that first season of managing under my belt, but for me, it's like going home and then thinking about how to improve right away, so that's where I'll be at mentally.
Yeah, take time to assess, but first lesson right now you learn mind top moment or two from the season in your head right now?
Yeah, leave it to that guy. Go ahead again.
Maybe like one more time since the season, but maybe a top moment or two right now, top of your head from the season.
Shoot. I mean, the walk-off wins are, Vegas, the most recent. That for me, being a Cali kid, coming from our part of the world, and the guy that we brought in, super proud. JJ's scoreless streak was pretty awesome as a whole. The guy's getting signed. Obviously, that stands out, but to pick one moment is hard right now, like I said, but check with me, in a few days or whatever, a week, and I'll probably have some nailed down for sure.
Speak to your coaching staff that's been working alongside you all season. I know they play a big part of the daily grind and everything. And just trying to get guys from day to day and help them improve and develop. You just speak to what your coaching staff meant to you and how you felt like they were able to connect with you and the players throughout the course of the season.
I mean, they're everything. They're huge. The success is not done without anybody, and it goes from players, coaches, also. But Bobby, was first time being in this league as a pitching coach. I'll be the first to admit that there was, he's dealt a little bit of a kind of a random hand when it comes to what you have as talent-wise. But, he had these guys, hitting on all cylinders for most of the time. And for the most part, he did everything that he could possibly do within his control, because you got a band of misfits out there in the bullpen, and, some pitchers that are just figuring out how to throw strikes and stuff. And, like I said, you look at the success, and it's all tied to, what the pitchers did, but also to, credit to Bobby and his patience. You know what I mean? His patience dealing with me, obviously, in my first year, and his help. Like, he was a big time help as far as management stuff goes. You look at Ron P. I mean, it's the proof is in the pudding. We led the league in hitting, and it's right there. So that shouldn't go unnoticed. I think we hit 278 or something like that. I don't even know, something crazy in first and second half.
Jones heading out. Care, Bobby.
Yeah, brother. Love you, bro. Thank you, bro. Yes, sir.
Sir.
Talk to me before you get out of here.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, G. I'm gonna see you. I'll hear you tomorrow or something.
Okay.
Yeah, so, Ron's my boy, dude, and having him here with me is a huge, to be, have someone you trust and everything, and the staff is huge. But, you look at it, the hitting was phenomenal. So, I'm grateful for him, and also him being around managers, having coach. They help me out a ton, dude. Like, when I would say things or bounce things off, and they'd be like, maybe try this or that. So I can't, give them enough credit and gratitude.
I'm going to ask you, being in Frederick, and your good friends of Preston Wilson, the manager, now you're leaving the draft league, going to be the Baltimore Orioles, high affiliate. So you battled against them a ton, 18 times this year, the last couple of years in draft league. Just your thoughts on Frederick leaving and Preston Wilson managing them, your battles through the years? Yeah,
my boy Preston over there, I was, we were able to get him involved in this league, and then, he kind of just, good timing, stumbled into, having an opportunity to manage as well. And I think he's perfect fit for it. His patience, his empathy, his love for the game, and his ability to relate to players at this level too is pretty strong characteristic of his. So, being here in Frederick, we've played here so many times the last few years, So it'll be sad not to come here in a way, just because the Frederick fans are good. The history of this ballpark, it's a real minor league feel. So, I'll be kind of bummed out not coming here, but I'm very happy for them, becoming affiliated, and they deserve it. I know they've been there before, but they should have a lot of fun with that.
Just talk on your thoughts on the MLB draft league as a whole overall. Like you said, you have a few years experience, just here with Trenton in general, and then this year being your first season manager, but you be able to have your hand, part of a little bit of everything, being a pitcher coach, being a manager, being a part of the staff that won the game over the Cape Cod League All-Stars over here at Citi Field. So just think about your thoughts on the league as a whole, and where you felt like you kind of experienced this season, in terms of your opposition and the opposing teams you played as well.
Well, I think, the draft league I've loved since day one, just understanding the concept of it, trying to give us former players, an opportunity, a doorway back into baseball. I was coming out just being at home, having not played for, over 10 years, but the opportunity given to coaches is is awesome. It's like for me this year especially, like you get a little crash course in managing, and it couldn't happen at an easier level to do it at. There's not a lot of pressure from the affiliate, so able to learn and make mistakes and do that. But overall, with the talent that they've been bringing in every year, it's gotten better. I feel like the talent this year, as far as the first half goes, was so much better across the league. It wasn't before like there's a couple guys here and there on each team, but as a whole, these teams, it's gaining more ground, I think, as far as bringing top-notch players into the league, and seeing a lot of them get signed and drafted. So I look forward to be in this league as long as possible and see how much it grows.
Just before you assess the whole season, just right after the game here, just final thoughts. On the bus here back to Trenton at the season,
I mean, like I said,
to the fans.
dude, I need days. I need weeks probably to process all this, right? Especially after a game like that. But again, I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna decompress, and I'll probably laugh a lot going over some of the moments and funny people and some of these characters out there in that clubhouse. But for the most part, it's not gonna be about baseball. It's gonna be about certain games will stick out in my mind, but it's going to be about people, the connections, and honestly, like, what the league and myself and other coaches and managers can do better, and that's where the focus will be.
Cool. All right, that's it. Thanks, Shawn, as always.
You guys.
Love you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Love
sir.
you guys, man.
Great
For real.
job, for
Awesome.
sure, man. It was
You guys
great
are
this
dope,
year.
bro.